Who am I? Question number 16. What is the nature of the self? What exists in truth is the self alone, the word, the individual soul, and God are appearances in it, like silver in mother of pearl. These three appear at the same time and disappear at the same time. The self is that where there is absolutely no I thought. That is called silence. The self itself is the word. The self itself is I. The self itself is God. All is Shiva, the self. Question number 17. Is not everything the work of God? Without desire, resolve, or effort, the sun rises. And its mere presence, the sunstone emits fire, the lotus blooms, water evaporates, people perform their various functions and then rest. Just as in the presence of the magnet the needle moves, it is by virtue of the mere presence of God that the souls governed by the three cosmic functions or the fivefold divine activity perform their actions and then rest in accordance with their respective karmas. God has no resolve. No karma attaches itself to him. That is like worldly actions not affecting the sun, or like the merits and demerits of the other four elements not affecting all pervading space. Question number 18. Of the devotees, who is the greatest? He who gives himself up to the self, that is God, is the most excellent devotee. Giving one's self up to God means remaining constantly in the self without giving room for the rise of any thoughts other than the thought of the self. Whatever burdens are thrown on God, He bears them. Since the supreme power of God makes all things move, why should we, without submitting ourselves to it, constantly worry ourselves with thoughts as to what should be done and how, and what should not be done and how not? We know that the train carries all loads, so after getting on it, why should we carry our small luggage on our head to our discomfort instead of putting it down in the train and feeling at ease? Question number 19. What is non-attachment? As thoughts arise, destroying them utterly without any residue in the very place of their origin is non-attachment. Just as the pearl diver ties a stone to his waist, sinks to the bottom of the sea, and there takes the pearls, so each one of us should be endowed with non-attachment, dive within oneself, and obtain the self-pearl. Question number 20. Is it not possible for God and the Guru to effect the release of a soul? God and the Guru will only show the way to release. They will not by themselves take the soul to the state of release. In truth, God and the Guru are not different. Just as the prey which has fallen into the jaws of a tiger has no escape, so those who have come within the ambit of the Guru's gracious look will be saved by the Guru and will not get lost. Yet, each one should, by his own effort, pursue the path shown by God or Guru and gain release. One can know oneself only with one's own eye of knowledge and not with somebody's else. Does he who is Rama require the help of a mirror to know that he is Rama? Question number 21. Is it necessary for one who longs for release to inquire into the nature of categories or tattvas? Just as one who wants to throw away garbage has no need to analyze it and see what it is, so one who wants to know the self has no need to counter the number of categories or inquire into their characteristics. What he has to do is to reject altogether the categories that hide the self. The world should be considered like a dream. Question number 22. Is there no difference between waking and dream? Waking is long and dream short. Other than this, there is no difference. Just as waking happenings seem real while awake, so do those in a dream while dreaming. In dream, the mind takes on another body. In both waking and dream states, thoughts, names, and forms occur simultaneously. Question number 23. Is it any use reading books for those who long for release? All the texts say that in order to gain release, one should render the mind quiescent. Therefore, their conclusive teaching is that the mind should be rendered quiescent. Once this has been understood, there is no need for endless reading. In order to quieten the mind, one has only to inquire within oneself what one's self is. How could this search be done in books? One should know oneself with one's own eye of wisdom. The self is within the 5 sheets, but books are outside them. Since the self has to be inquired into by discarding the 5 sheets, it is futile to search for it in books. There will come a time when one will have to forget all that one has learned. Question number 24. What is happiness? Happiness is the very nature of the self. Happiness and the self are not different. There is no happiness in any object of the world. We imagine through our ignorance that we derive happiness from objects. When the mind goes out, it experiences misery. In truth, when its desires are fulfilled, it returns to its own place and enjoys the happiness that is the self. Similarly, in the states of sleep, samadhi, and fainting, and when the object desired is obtained or the object disliked is removed, the mind becomes inward, turned, and enjoys pure self-happiness. Thus the mind moves without rest, alternately going out of the self and returning to it. Under the tree the shade is pleasant. Out in open the heat is scorching. A person who has been going about in the sun feels cool when he reaches the shade. Someone who keeps on going from the shade into the sun and then back into the shade is a fool. A wise man stays permanently in the shade. Similarly, the mind of the one who knows the truth does not leave Brahman. The mind of the ignorant, on the contrary, revolves in the world, feeling miserable, and for a little time returns to Brahman to experience happiness. In fact, what is called the word is only thought. When the word disappears, that is, when there is no thought, the mind experiences happiness, and when the word appears, it goes through misery. Question number 25. What is wisdom insight or jnana drishti? Remaining quiet is what is called wisdom insight. To remain quiet is to resolve the mind in the self. Telepathy, knowing past, present, and future happenings, and clairvoyance do not constitute wisdom insight. Question number 26. What is the relation between desirelessness and wisdom? Desirelessness is wisdom. The two are not different, they are the same. Desirelessness is refraining from turning the mind towards any object. Wisdom means the appearance of no object. In other words, not seeking what is other than the self is detachment or desirelessness. Not leaving the self is wisdom. Question number 27. What is the difference between inquiry and meditation? Inquiry consists in retaining the mind in the self. Meditation consists in thinking that one's self is Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss. Question number 28. What is release? Inquiring into the nature of oneself that is in bondage and realizing one's true nature is release.
Arunachala Shiva